So the first example we're looking at here is A and B, right? So we see that black was in trouble, and so black jumps out. White attacks on the top, and so now black makes the dog-shaped face. Now we haven't really gone over completely the dog face shape. I don't think we did touched on it when we were talking about the table shape. But this is a very good shape to try and bolster yourself out to make good eye shape and to kind of get out. So once black touches white, white will hane to counterattack black. And then black bumps here, and here we come to the kind of the problem, right? So should we make the mouth shape or the table shape? Does anybody want to try and answer this?
Sure.
I was
Uh,
I
mhm.
would probably go with A.
Hey, okay.
I'd go with B.
B, okay. All right, let's discuss both. So we'll start we'll start with the bad answer. So sorry, Marty. We got
Oh,
we got B here. So Terry picked it too, so don't feel bad. But yes, so B makes the mouse shape. And the mouse shape is very solid, right? It's clearly making an eye, but it's a little slow. And so let's take a look at what happens after. So if white attacks on this side, black only has one place to go. White attacks on this side, black only has one place to go. So what we see here is making the mouse shape is good and solid, but white can chase black and gain a large moil on the bottom side. So while white is attacking black, white was able to build. And this is a really good example of using white's thickness here. Like we don't use our thickness to make territory, right? We use it to attack to make territory on the other side. So this was a really nice example. So instead, we want to move a little faster. And so this is where the one jump comes into play, right? We know that if we jump here now, we can see even if white plays the proper move, right? That now black kind of can come out. And we see that well, black has made good shape and white has been kind of weakened, right? I mean, white is fine, but it's not as good as the other result. The white was making a big moil, and now his moil's kind of spoiled a little here. Black has made good shape. But let's say we play the improper move, right? This is the one I think most double digit Q players would be scared of, right? Even single digit Q players. I mean, this looks like you left a huge vulnerability and can be split. But when we do, well, we counter Atari, and we don't care if this gets taken because now we can play this move. And so we see that white now has hugged the stone and neutralized it, and even if white, continues to play this way, we can see this is really nice shape for black. Black is very clearly out, has damaged this stone, and is continuously damaging this area too. If white was to try and come through, this doesn't really show in the book, but even if we just play it out very simply, we can see black can kind of get a good result here. White can't, there's too many cutting points for white. And so white's in a lot of trouble and is going to have to spend a lot of effort to kill these two stones, and black will be pretty happy. And so when we look back, this is definitely the solid and slow shape to make an eye. It's very good shape, but in this case, it's better for white because white gets to make a really big area and black is just under attack. And as we see, this stone's still not neutralized, it's not hurt, right? But when we compare it to the other result, now you can see that this gets really damaged. And then black has two ways to go. Originally, black only had one way to go, but now black has more options and is hurting white. So it's kind of subtle and hard to see, I think, without a serious explanation. But there's a huge difference between the two. And I find that this shape would it probably even be a little hard for me, right? It usually doesn't feel good to give away stones, but in this case, it allows you to move really quickly, which is nice. So now we are looking at this. So normally, white will make like a solid connection here, right? White will connect here, and white's very solid. But in this case, because white has a helper stone and is close to the wall, white can actually be a little bit more aggressive. So black cuts, which is very normal, right? But now the question becomes, was this a good cut for black? Was it bad for white to abandon this? Should white have connected here, right? So now we have to find how white can make good shape. So let's discuss both of them. The most common and normal move, I think, very comes out naturally, is the pullback Tetsuji. This is very common because we're making a very clear pinwheel, and we have an extra stone here to help. It's probably, once again, something I would have played, which after putting this lecture together, I can see why I got a lot of my shape problems wrong in the book itself, because I generally do the most common or basic moves, and I'm not as imaginative as the book. So A would be the correct dog face shape, but let's just first look at the pullback. So black will play here to strengthen its weakest stone. White needs to protect these stones, safety, right? So it jumps out. Black pushes to cut it one more time. White defends, and now black can jump out. So what we see here is now white is kind of heavy. This group doesn't have good eye potential yet, and so it can be attacked. And if it can be attacked, that means that it's not going to make eyes easy or make territory. Black, on the other hand, has been able to jump out, and so it's very hard to attack this stone right now. There are clear and better answers, which we can look at this one. So now, instead of playing the pullback Tetsuji, we can jump here, which makes this really nice shape. Because if black was to say counterattack white, well, now we can Atari, threaten to link up. This cut would be terrible for black, so black has to take. And now we can fully wrap up black. We can see that it creates this dumpling shape. And black looks really bad in this corner, and white has all this thickness everywhere. Everything looks really nice for white. So when we go back, the book shows us two different ways. And if black was to come out like this, then white can protect. And when black attacks, white can attack back. And so now there's a huge cutting point that black's going to have to fix in some manner. And now white can finish. And so the difference between the other result was black had a stone here and white had a stone here. So the exchange for black was better when white pulls back. But in this exchange, if white doesn't pull here and comes out this way, now white gets this nice table shape after. This is a very beautiful shape for white, and black's in trouble. So that's a huge difference between the A and B.